Hello, sorcerers. I've learned something over the last 2 years, thanks to you. It seems that information and strategies on how to approach skip level meetings is a very important topic to this audience. And I know this because I created a video about 2 years ago on how to approach and how to have better skip level meetings. And this video is by far the most popular video on this channel. It has pretty much 10,000 views. Thank you for watching. But in the business world, 2 years is a long time. And I am not an old man. I am still learning. And there are some things that have changed that I would like to share with you in this video. So this is an update to how to approach a skip level meeting. Please try to watch to the end of the video. I'm going to give you a very specific strategy and tool to help, not just for skip level meetings, but to help level set and get you comfortable with bringing up a topic with whomever you need to speak to. It's a cool little trick. It's a cool little template. And I'm going to share this with you towards the end of the video. This is not clickbait. Before I get into the new stuff, I do want to go backwards and share a story about why I made that other video 2 years ago. I've said this before in other videos, but I tend to use real life situations as the inspiration and fuel for the videos that I produce. At the time, this channel probably had less than 100 subscribers, and I had no expectations that people outside of my work circles were looking at these videos. And I very much was producing those videos for people that I worked with. And at that time, I had recently taken over a team of people that worked with me. So we were all working together and I had ascended to a managerial position. And some of the younger people on my team, when I did skip levels with them, because I had managers and then I had individual contributors working for me, some of those younger people still had a very casual approach to their interactions with me. And that was fine. I didn't particularly have an issue with that at all. But as some of these meetings progressed and I felt like there was a lack of preparation, I wanted to make sure that these individuals were able to conduct themselves with other managers, with other people, and could have a very positive and well thought out one-on-one experience. I didn't want to be rude and I didn't want to call anybody out specifically, so I kind of aggregated these notes that I had made over multiple conversations with different people and gave some of those highlights. So that's where that video came from. And I want to make a correction to one of the things that I said. And I've said this in a couple of videos, and I may have done a correction in another video, but I have a suspicion that people are going to watch this one. So I said in that video, when you go in a skip level, when you talk to a boss, if you have a complaint or if you're identifying a problem, come with a solution. And I think for higher level people, that advice remains. But for more junior people in the organization, I don't think that's the right guidance, because I got some feedback in just generic conversations. And sometimes people, they feel intimidated that they can't provide a solution, and thus they can't have a conversation with a leader. And that is obviously not the intention. So I do want to walk back that one comment. If you're a more junior person in the organization, either by tenure or by experience, it's good to get a feel for the individuals that you're talking to. Don't feel intimidated. Don't feel like you can't bring up a problem without a solution. I do want to hear about the problems in my organizations. I want to hear the frustration points. So I felt that it was important to clarify that and walk that back a little bit. Now that I've set the table, I would like to start this conversation by sharing stories about experiences that I've had in the skip level where I'm the lower person in the conversation. I very recently had a skip level meeting with my boss's boss, and I've worked for this gentleman for a long time. We talk frequently, but we don't very often have skip level meetings. I probably have had a formal skip level with him a handful of times in the decade plus that I've worked with him. Because I know him and because we do talk a lot about work topics, going into that conversation is a bit of a wild card. The first thing that I did was prepare materials. I prepared a statistical slide of what my team is doing, growth from year over year, spend that we're managing. And I put all of these hardline details in an appendix in a PowerPoint. They're not the things that I led with, but they are appendix information that drives conversations and slides that I produce. But that's the first thing that I pulled together so I can figure out trends. I can figure out a story that I wanted to tell him. So I had to pull some of that data together, types of requests that we get, increases in requests, et cetera, et cetera. So once I started to get that information, I put together some very high-level slides about the wins that my organization has had over the last year, things that I wanted to celebrate, things that I wanted him to know. And then I created a slide of the things that we are struggling with, things that we are not doing well, things that we need executive oversight and assistance with, and I wanted his opinions. Going into this meeting, I wasn't sure which way he was going to take it. If he wanted to have like a personal conversation, how are you? How are things with the kids? Yada, yada, yada. And that's the way that particular conversation went. It was much more personal, much more what's going on in your life type of conversation. But at the end of that meeting, I did let him know that I produced a more staff and team-oriented slide, and it's information that he might be able to use in his meetings, and if he had any questions, to let me know. And he gladly took the document. He did follow up with questions, and we had very productive conversations. The point being is, when you're going into a meeting with a more senior person, and I said this in the other video, you should produce materials. You should produce information to let that individual know that you're prepared. But when you are meeting with a higher level person, and it is infrequent, you should prepare for the fact that maybe they just want to get to know you, they want to have a more personalized conversation, and you're not going to get into the details about the specific work. It can go either way, so be prepared for both. I also recently had an opportunity to meet with his boss, but that meeting was like 3 minutes. And because I had very limited time, I asked this individual who's new to our organization, what are the best things for us to do for you and for customers like you at your level? What are the types of things that you're looking for us to produce, or the way that you want us to interact with you? And I thought this was good, so I'm sharing with you. When you're dealing with someone who may have thousands of individuals reporting up into their organization, they don't have time for the details. They don't have time for you to build up your story. You just have to get to the point. I've said in other videos, people don't want to really hear your presentations. And this is a situation in the nicest possible way where it's true. So what this individual said was, first and foremost, give me data. Don't give me emotion. Do not give me an emotional reaction. Just give me data so I can get to the same conclusion you're getting to. The second point is, I don't want a 50-slide deck. I don't want all this information. You're trying too hard. Just tell me what I need to know, which gets to the third point. What do you actually want me to do for you? How can I help you at my level? What is it that you want me to do for you? Tell me. They may not necessarily agree, but get to the point. So when you're dealing with extremely high levels of an organization, individuals that are at a high level, you got to get to the point. You got to get to the point quickly, and you got to get to the ask, what do you want? And that may sound aggressive. It's not. And I experienced this at my level with my teams. People want to meet frequently. They want to build up steam and then kind of justify the position that they're taking with you. I do this. I am 100% guilty of doing this myself. I feel like an imposter sometimes. I feel like the thing that I'm asking you for, or the thing that I'm telling you about, I have to establish my credibility before I can get to the ask. There is no time for that. You may be getting direction from people like me that say, you have to prepare all this material. You have to have all of this information before you go to that executive. You have to be prepared. You have to have information, but they're not looking for all that level of detail. In fact, they're looking for exactly the opposite. Now let's get to the trick, to the template that I was telling you about earlier. I recently took a rethinking data class. So this is not my idea. This class was by a company called Avail Advisors, and the teacher that I had, his name was Brad. Hi, Brad, if you ever see this. So I want to make sure you guys understand, this is not my idea. When I tell you that my entire organization has been using this for just about a year now, and it's wonderful, actually. It is really good. I'm sure a lot of you, I know this happens to me all the time, when you're trying to figure out a way to convey an idea to an executive, and you're like, I just don't know where to start. How do I get this thing going? This Rethinking Data class gave us a very, very simple template to approach this. Write up a summary following this template. What? What is the headline? What is the thing that you're trying to convey? Why? Why is it happening? Why is this a problem? Give me the detail of what this thing is and why it's happening and why should I be concerned as the person that you're telling at this higher level. And then there is the but. But there's this other situation that you should be aware of that's making it more complicated. And then there's the end. What do you need from me? What is the action plan? So what, why, but, end. I'll give you an example in this video. What? People really seem to like videos about skip level meetings, but I'm concerned about doing repeats. Why? I feel like it might be disingenuous and people may not want to come back to the channel to watch a second video on a topic that I've already done and seems to be relatively popular. But things have changed. I've gotten more experiences, I have more data, and I think it's important to share that with the audience. And the one thing I'd really like to know as you're watching this video is, was this helpful? Was this a good add-on to the original video? Leave a comment, let me know, right? That's my ask of you. That's the end. I want you guys to tell me if this is actually good and you were glad that I repeated some of this content. Skip level meetings aren't easy. And I feel like in the last video, maybe I had more of a flippant tone, like, oh, just do these things and everything will be fine. But it does get stressful, and I don't think I acknowledge that enough. It gets stressful to have to meet with someone you don't meet with frequently. Giving them a compelling story about what's going on in your life and your career, and trying to make it entertaining for them or valuable for them to listen to this data. It's a stressful experience, and I don't want anyone to feel stressed out. Again, being on both sides of these experiences, having multiple layers of staff and doing one-on-ones and skip levels with them, the thing that I'm always looking for them, I want to understand what their comfort levels are, where they're struggling and where I can help. And sometimes we have very candid conversations about exactly that. And other times we have conversations about how are the kids, how's everything going in your personal life, and the half hour or 45 minutes evaporates almost immediately. So different tones for different times. Be prepared. Tell your story and tell the executive, the leader, where things can be better and areas to pay attention to, because at the end of the day, leaders want you to be more efficient. And efficient sounds like a robot, but we want to clear barriers and obstacles that make your life difficult. And these conversations are helpful to understand that. So don't go into it with fear or concern. Go into it with a story about how to convey what a problem is. And then if you're experienced enough, try to share a story or an example of where you would attack it, where things could potentially be improved and how you would go about doing it. And if you don't know how to do that, again, don't feel disenfranchised. Just knowing what the problem is a good start. So thank you for watching this video. I hope that it's helpful to you. I hope that it's insightful. The what, why, but, and thing, I'm telling you it works. I've seen it propagate across 100 people within my broader organization, and it works. It's helpful. If you have a better version of that or your own spin on that, number one, awesome. Not recommending that you change it. Also, if you do have a better version of that, share that in the comments below. I would love to hear more variations of that. And there are a couple of other variations for different types of situations that I've seen, but let's just start with the simple template, because it really does work. And let me know, try it. I shared it with my wife. We don't work for the same company. And she used it and she's like, yeah, this thing. She's like, that was great. It totally helped. So if you use it and it helps, let us know in the comments. I would really appreciate it. So again, thank you for watching this video. I hope it was useful, and leave some comments, some questions, and we'll be back with another video in 2 weeks. Take care.